Hello students, and welcome to this video for Excel Chapter 1 Capstone Exercise. So you can see here, this is a file we're going to be needing. I accidentally downloaded two of them, which happens sometimes, so you can see there's a 1 in parentheses. You don't have to worry about that part, but you do need this file. It's on page 483 of your textbook, 483. I'm going to read this information while you're turning there. So you are a division manager for a regional hearing aid company in Cheyenne, however you say it, Wyoming, and your sales managers travel frequently to some of the offices in the western region. You need to create a travel expense report for your managers to use to record their budgeted and actual expenses for the travel reports. The draft report contains a title, input areas, and a detailed expense area. So we're going to be doing that today. Hopefully you have that file ready to go, because step A, of course, is we're going to open up that file and save it with a new name. So I have that open. I click File, Save As, Browse, and of course I'm choosing the correct folder. Make sure you get to the right folder first before you save it. And the thing I'm going to be doing is, of course, I'm just adding underscore my last name and first name. So you're doing underscore your last name, your first name for the file. Then I'm going to press enter and save it. Step B, it says to merge and center the title over range A1 through E1. So A1 through E1. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here. So A1 through E1, and set the row height for the first row to 40. So merge and center the title. So I selected A1 through E1. I'm going to click merge and center, and then row height for row 1 is 40. So right click on number 1. Let's change row height, and of course it's at 23. I'm going to put in 40 and then enter. So it's looking like that. All right, step C, it says apply input cell style to ranges B3 through B6. So I'm going to select B3 through B6 right here, those 4 cells, and I'm going to find the input cell style. So I go up to my styles group, I'm going to click the more arrow, and then look for the input cell style, which is right in the data and model group, input. And it also says we actually need to apply it to 2 other ranges. So I'm going to select those ranges and I'll apply it again. It says E4, so here's E, so it says E3, excuse me, through E4. So those two, E3 through E4, and then E6 through E7. So I'm going to hold down Control and select those two. I'm going to dismiss that. Which deselect mine? Let me put Focus Assist. There we go. All right, I have those selected. So E3, E4, and then E6 and E7, and we're going to do the same thing, input. So I click on More and choose Input. Then it says apply the calculation cell style to cell E5. So let's find cell E5, and then it says calculation cell style. So I go up here to more again, and actually, you know, I can see right here, calculation. All right, then it said parts of the borders are removed when you apply these styles. We can see that. Step D, it says select ranges A3. So let's find A3, which it looks like is right here. There we go, A3 through B6. So we're selecting that. And then I also need to select D3 through E7. So I'm going down to E. So we're selecting basically those 2 groups right there. And it says apply thick outside borders. That's over in our font group. So font, I click the border arrow and find thick outside borders about halfway down and click on that. I can click away to see that now it's applied. All right, step E, it says enter the date, that specific date in cell E3. So I'm going to click on E3, so E3 right there, and the date we're going to enter is 6/1/2018. You can see I'm using slashes. And then I'm going to push enter because it says in E4, which we have now selected, which is under it, to put 6/5/2018 for the return date. And then it says in cell E6, so I'm just going to push enter twice to go down to it, cell E6. I'm going to be entering in 149 for the hotel rate per night. And then I'm going to push enter again because in cell E7, I'm going to enter 18%. So I'm actually going to do it this way. I'm going to type in 0.18. I'm going to push enter, and then you can see it puts it in as 18%. So I just did 0.18. All right, step F, it says enter a formula in cell E5. So I'm going to click on E5. It says enter a formula in cell E5 to calculate the number of days between the return date and the departure date. So, and you may remember from doing this a few exercises ago, I put in the equal sign to start it, and I'm going to use semi-selection. I'm going to minus, because we're finding the difference between it. So I'm going to minus from the return, or excuse me, the depart date from the return date. So I put equals, and then I click on cell E4 for the return date. I'm going to put minus, and then I'm going to click on the depart date. So equals E4 minus E3, push enter, and that will give us our formula. It's a difference of 4 days. So 4 nights there. All right, now we're on to our next major heading in the textbook, insert formulas. The detailed expenses section contains the amount budgeted for the trip, so how much they're assuming they're going to spend. The actual expenses reported by the traveler, percentage of the budget spent on each item, and the amount of actual spent went over or under budget. So oftentimes Excel is used for figuring out your budgets, the idea of we're planning on using this much money, and then we see how much money was actually used. So you will insert formulas for this section. Some budgeted items are calculated based on the inputs, and other budgeted items, or amounts, such as airfare, are estimates. So step A, it says enter the amount budgeted for mileage to and from the airport in cell B12. So I'm going to find B12. So that's B11, B12. So mileage to and from the airport. The amount is based on the mileage rate and the round trip rate, or round trip to the airport from standards input section. So let's see here. I don't think we have to really scroll down, but we can see here the mileage to / from the airport rate here, and then of course round trip miles to the airport. So we're going to end up adding these together here. So let's put in equals. I'm going to put mileage rate. So let's click on this cell right here, 60 cents. And then we're going to do a plus sign. And then we're going to select round trip right here. So B5 plus B6. And we're going to push enter. So that's our mileage to and from the airport. We're assuming $20.60. All right, then it says step B, enter the amount budgeted for airport parking in cell B13. This amount is based on airport parking daily rate and the number of total days traveling. So the number of nights plus 1 to include both the departure and the return date. So we're going to be doing it here this way. So first put the equal sign because it's in cell B13. That's where we are. And we say it's based on airport parking daily rate. So this cell right here, B4, and the number of total days traveling. So we're going to do this. So we're doing B4 multiplied by this cell over here. Except what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and put an opening parenthesis. So B4 multiplied by E5. And I'm going to go and put an opening parentheses here because I wanted to add 1 day before it multiplies. So we got the whole please excuse my dear Aunt Sally thing, the order of operations. So that's it. We're multiplying this here by the number of days plus 1. So I'm going to push enter. And you can see it has put in airport parking is $45 because the number of days that was needed. All right, we're on step number C. These ones are kind of slow just because we have to make sure we think through the steps here. Enter the amount budgeted for hotel accommodations in cell B16. So I'm going to select B16 here. So hotel accommodations. This amount is based on the number of nights, the hotel rate, and the hotel tax rate. So the number of nights, the hotel rate, and the hotel tax rate. So we're going to do that. So put the equal sign down to start our formula. We first start with semi-selection. Click on the number 4, which is E5, because that's the number of nights. And then we're going to multiply that. So I type in an asterisk, and then I click on hotel rate / night. So we put that in. And then, of course, we have our hotel tax rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to put here, we're multiplying by this last cell here, 18%. And then we push enter. Now you notice there's one problem here that we're going to have to fix. We do have the right information down, but when we multiplied it by 18%, it went and just pulled the 18% from it. So we're going to have to actually find out the total here between these two and add it to the rest of our formula again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it like this. We're going to have these get figured out first. So I'm going to put parentheses around this, and then I'm going to have that added to, because that's going to be a percent plus E5 multiplied by E6. So it's a little weird when we have to do the percentages like that. So what it's going to do is it's going to take the number of nights at the hotel, multiply that by the rate, which is going to give you the total amount, and then it's multiplying it by the tax rate. So this is where we get our hotel tax rate, and then we're adding it back to that same amount so we get the full total. So it goes from 100 something to 703, which is more of what we're looking at here with the amount. So I'll show you the formula one more time again in case you didn't get it. It's a little trickier when you have to add that percentage back to it. Alright, step D, it says enter the amount budgeted for meals in cell B17. So I'm going to go down to cell B17, click on that. You can see meals over here. Then what we're going to do is the amount is based on the daily meal allowance and the total travel days. So the number of hotel nights plus 1. So let's find daily meal allowance is $65. So putting that equal sign to start the formula. Let's go to our daily meal allowance, click on that cell, so B3. And then we're going to multiply that. And of course, we're going to use an opening parentheses because we want this number to be calculated first. The number of nights at the hotel, so 4. We click on cell E5, and then we're adding in that plus sign and the number 1 and a closing parenthesis because we want it to take the daily meal allowance, multiply it by the number of nights, and of course 1 extra day. So push enter, and it's going to give you about 325 there in the cell, and of course there's our information right there, the formula itself. Step E, it says enter the percentage of budget in cell D12. So D12, right over here, percentage of budget. And what we're going to do, this percentage indicates the percentage of actual expenses to budgeted expenses. And we're going to copy the formula to the range of D13 through D18. So first let's figure that out. So I'm going to put an equal sign because we're starting that formula. And this is going to indicate the percentage here. So what we're going to actually end up doing here is we're going to divide the two numbers. So we're going to do C12 divided by B12. We're taking the actual number and dividing it by what it should be, or we're expecting it to be in the budget. So C12 divided by B12, push enter. And you can see it put it as a dollar amount, but we actually want it as a percentage. So 58%, the actual, we went and thought we were going to spend $20, and we spent only $12. and we switch it to percentage. We got C12 divided by B12, and I'm going to double click on the fill handle, and it's going to go and fill all the way down for the active cells. So that's how we copy it of E13 through E18. So E13 through E18 right here. So here's all our percentages. You can see some things we went under, some things we went over. All right, now step F, this is our last set of formulas that we need to do here. Our last set. It says enter the difference between the actual and the budgeted expenses in cell E12. So I'm going over here to over or under, and it says we're going to put the difference between the actual and budgeted expenses. So copy the formula to E13 and E18 when done. So if the actual expenses exceeded the budget expenses, the result should be positive. If the actual expenses were less than the budgeted expense, the result should be negative, indicating under the budget. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to go and of course start with our equals sign to get our formula going here, and we're going to end up basically just minusing the numbers here. So the difference between the actual and the budgeted expenses. So it's a little bit different. As opposed to dividing, we're going to minus. So we're going to do B12. This is what we're assuming the budget is going to be, minus the actual. So C12, so equals B12 minus C12. I push enter, and there's 860. And then I'm going to double click the fill handle. And now you can see it is a little bit different because they go, and as opposed to putting the numbers with like a negative sign and a positive sign, they put them in parentheses for if we went over the budget. So you can see here 59 is in the parentheses, 25 is in parentheses, 672 is in parentheses there, indicating that. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to continue on here to the next main heading. So add rows, indent labels, and move data. The detailed expenses section includes a heading, travel to/from destination, and you want to include 2 more headings to organize the expenses. Then you will indent the items within each category. Furthermore, you want the monetary columns together, so you will insert cells and move the over or under column to the right of the actual column. So step A, insert a new row 15. So new row 15. So I'm going to go and I'm going to right click on row 15, and I'm going to click insert. And you can see it shoves the stuff down that was shuttled to and from hotel, and I have a new row 15. Then it says type destination expenses. You can see the autofill is trying to work, or autocomplete. Destination expenses. In cell A15, bold label. So I'm going to hold down control and push enter, and I'm going to make it bold. So destination expenses. Then it says insert a new row 19. So I'm going to zoom this out just a little bit. Make sure we can see everything here. A new row 19. So I'm going to right click on 19. I'm going to choose insert. It shoves everything down. And now we got a new row 19. It says type other in cell A19. So A19 we're typing in other. And of course I'm going to hold down control and push enter. I'm going to bold the label. So we can see we have some more organization here to our data. Then it says indent twice the labels in ranges A12 through A14. So let's find A12 through A14. Oh, excuse me, let me try that again. It was one off. So A12 through A14. It says A16 through A18. And then, of course, A20. So those ones right there, it says to indent twice. So I'm going to go up here to my indent. Of course, we're increasing it, not decreasing it. So don't click this one. Click this one right here, increase. So 1, 2. And you can see it looks like this down here with that space. Then what we're going to do is step D. Select the range D10 through D21. So D10 through D21. So all those things right there, D10 through D21. And it says, we select it, and it says insert cells to shift the selected cells to the right. So we're going to click insert up here. It's going to shift those cells over. All right, step E, it says cut the range F10 through F21. So over here, row F, this is F10 through F21. It says we're going to cut it. So I'm going to go up here to my clipboard group and click cut. We now see it's active. And it says paste it in D10. So I'm going to click on D10. We're going to paste the whole range, but I only have to click up there. And I'm going to choose paste. And it says to move the over or under data in the new cell you inserted. So we kind of shifted where it is overall. All right, so we have these cell types selected here. Then what we're going to do is it says format the detailed expenses section. You are ready to apply the format, ready to format the values to improve readability. You will apply accounting number format to the monetary values on the first and total rows, comma style to the monetary values in the middle rows, and percent style for the percentages. So step A, apply accounting number format to the ranges B12 through D12. So let me find B12 right here through D12. So those right here, we're applying accounting number format, and also B21 through D21. So B21 through D21. So those two ranges I'm selecting and changing to accounting number format. Right now they're on general. So there's my accounting number format. Then it says step B, apply comma style to the range B13 through D20. So here's B13 through D20. I've selected this group right here. Styles group, I'm going to click the more arrow and choose the comma number format. So not comma 0, comma for our number format style. All right, next we're going to go to step C, apply percent style with 1 decimal place to ranges E12 through E20. So E12 right here, click on that, go down to E20, and I'm selecting percent style. So we're going to the styles group, selecting percent. Let me make sure I have that selected here, not much of a change. And then it says with 1 decimal place, so we do need to increase the decimal here from our number group. All right, we're almost done here. We're on the second page, page 484. It says underline the range B20 through D20. So let's find B20 right here through D20. I select those those 3, and underline it. So up here, my font group, I click underline. And then it says do not use the border feature. So I didn't use it through the border. I went through underline up here. Then it says step E, apply the cell style bad to cell D21. So D21 right here. Because the traveler went over budget, they did not, they went over the budget here. So cell style, the styles, let's find that bad. Then it says step F. It says select range A10. So let's find A10 right there through E21. So that's everything but detailed expenses. It says apply thick outside borders. So I'm going to do that again. I applied it. Then it says, and I'm going to click away so you can see it. It says select the range A10 through E10. Nope, let me try that again. I'm just selecting part of the row. Apply blue-gray text to lighter 80% fill color. So I'm going to fill color. That's my keywords here, right here, fill color. Click the arrow. It says blue-gray. So let's find blue-gray. And this looks like blue-gray. Text to lighter 80%. So it looks like it should be this one right here. I'm going to click that. I need to choose center line. So center line right here. And then also wrap the text. All right. We are almost done here. We're on Manage the Workbook. You will apply page setup options, insert a footer, and then duplicate the expenses statement worksheet. So it says step A, spell check the workbook and make appropriate change or correction. So I'm going to press F7. It says, do you want to continue checking at the beginning? Yes, I do. It says you're good to go. So I'm good to go. And make appropriate changes. We don't need to do that. Step B, set a 1.5 top margin. So I'm going to go to page layout. I'm going to choose margins. And I'm going to choose custom margins here. So 1.5 for the top margin. So I put that, oh, let me try that again. So I typed it in, but I pushed enter, so maybe not push enter. You can always use the up arrow too, 1.5. It says center the data horizontally, so I check that box here. Then it says insert a footer. So actually, I could push OK, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to click header and footer. It says insert a footer. I'm going to choose custom footer. And I'm going to put in on the left side my name, so Mr. Rogers. And then in the center, I'm going to put the sheet name code. So we've got file name, then sheet name. And then in the right section, I'm going to put the file name code on the right side. All right, then step D, I'm going to click OK here, click OK again. Step D, it says copy the expenses worksheet. So we're going to make a copy, so right click. We're going to choose move or copy, and I'm going to choose create a copy and click OK. So I got my copy right here. It says move the new worksheet to the end, so I can click and drag it over here, move it to the end, rename it formulas. So right click on it, we're choosing rename. We're going to type in formulas, so you can see that down here. We'll push enter, and then it says display the cell formulas in the formula worksheet. So I'm going to formulas group. I'm choosing show formulas in the formula auditing group area, and of course all my formulas show up for me. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can see this a little better. And then it says use the page setup dialog box or page layout tab to print grid lines and row column headings. So I'm actually go to page layout tab, and I'm going to click print for grid lines and print for headings. And of course it says that step F, save and close your file. And this is how you complete Excel Chapter 1 Capstone Exercise number 1. And this is how you should have two worksheets. We got our formulas one right here, looks like this. And then of course we have our expenses one that looks like this, and they should match what you are seeing here in the video.